You've probably done it before. In the kitchen, in the car, while walking alone, while trying to figure something out and quietly saying, "Okay, wait," or "No, that's not it," or maybe just, "What am I doing?" And the second you notice it, there's sometimes this weird little embarrassment, like you just caught yourself doing something strange. Because most people were taught to see talking to yourself as a sign that something's wrong, like it means you're lonely, or odd, or losing it a little. But the truth is, talking to yourself can actually be a sign that your brain is trying to help you think more clearly, not because it's broken, because it's working. The mind thinks better when it can hear itself. A thought inside your head is slippery. It changes shape. It loops. It collides with 10 other thoughts before you can even finish it. That's why a lot of people feel mentally crowded without knowing exactly why. There's just too much happening in there at once. But the moment you say something out loud, even quietly, the thought becomes more solid. It stops being fog. It becomes a sentence. And once it becomes a sentence, your brain can work with it differently. You can hear if it makes sense. You can hear if it's exaggerated. You can hear if it's fear pretending to be logic. You can hear if you're actually helping yourself or just spiraling in nicer words. That's part of what self-talk does. It pulls the thought out of the swirl and puts it where you can examine it. And for some people, that makes all the difference. Because the real problem isn't that people think too much. It's that most of their thinking stays unstructured. It never gets organized. It just keeps bouncing around inside them until it turns into stress. Talking out loud creates mental space. A lot of intelligent people don't talk to themselves because they're eccentric. They do it because it creates space. Space between impulse and action. Space between confusion and clarity. Space between the first emotional reaction and the more honest thought underneath it. Talking to yourself can slow your mind down just enough to stop getting dragged by it. That's powerful. Especially now, when so many people live in constant internal noise. Messages, tasks, opinions, things to remember, things to regret, things to plan. The brain gets crowded fast. So when someone talks to themselves out loud, sometimes what they're really doing is this. They're giving their thoughts an exit. They're letting some of that pressure leave the inside of the head. And once it leaves, it's easier to see, easier to sort, easier to let go. And maybe that's why it can feel strangely calming. Not because you solved the whole problem, but because for a second, your mind stopped being a crowd and became a conversation. It's not weird. It's processing. That's the part people miss. Self-talk isn't always a sign of instability. A lot of the time, it's a sign of processing. The brain is trying to make sense of something, trying to structure an idea, trying to regulate emotion, trying to hear the truth more clearly. And saying it out loud helps. Sometimes that looks like solving a problem. Sometimes it looks like calming yourself down. Sometimes it just looks like hearing your own voice in a world that keeps talking over it. And honestly, that's probably healthier than people think. Because a person who can talk to themselves in a grounded way is often a person who has some kind of relationship with their own mind. Not a perfect one, but a real one. They're not always trying to escape their thoughts. Sometimes they're actually listening. And in a world this noisy, that might be one of the smartest things a person can do. If this made you think a little differently, I put together a short, free PDF on protecting your focus and mental clarity in a noisy world. The link is below. No pressure, just something small that might help you hear your own mind a little more clearly.